veterans, 80% of them, I can say that with lot of conviction, today they are not accepting what Asim Munir is doing. They are not accepting even the external or the international stakeholders, how they are interacting with this illegitimate power center in Pakistan. Why? Because every day there is an escalation into war crimes. These are war crimes. You can pick up the Charter of International Criminal Court. You can go back to history. The Iron Curtain of fascism and tyranny is very clearly being drawn on 250 million, approximately, people of Pakistan. This does not have only effect in that country, not only in that region, but globally. So I'll keep it very brief. The idea to come and stand here in front of a very large audience and give a direct message and bring out the reality of the environment which is prevailing in Pakistan is the focus right now. I would also, because I've had that experience of being deployed and trained into an international arena, being from Pakistan Army and during my service, I wish today I had somebody from CENTCOM today here. I wish General Kurilla, whatever feed that he is giving into State Department is based on reality. It is not. It is definitely not. It is creating more problems. If the State Department today or CENTCOM today just pick up, it is off the shelf information that if a person like Asim Munir, he sits with the Prime Minister of China. China is a declared, I have no inhibition to say that, is a declared enemy, right? Why? Because how the China has changed from collaboration and assistance with United States, it's just gone to the other side. This is what the focus is, State Department or your Department of Defense. Now, at this point, there is a very immediate reset required by the West, the leader of the free world. If you don't do it, we are dealing with another North Korea. We are dealing with this coming or this emergence of the new dictatorship in Pakistan is is not going to be the my dictator. It is not going to be a West sponsored dictatorship. So that thing has just been very clear. I thought I should come up. So 2 points. One is that how the veterans feel about this situation and the environment there in Pakistan. And secondly, as Pakistani American, and where we very strongly feel we are interacting with our representatives, and it is very encouraging. Actually, we talked earlier about how the our representatives are coming together and being a force to put this correction. With this, I thank you, and let's see how this goes.
So we'll go to the next session right now. Just want to reiterate things that today's event, there are different organizations and different groups which have their own opinion. And, here in this country, we have freedom of expression and freedom of speech. So everybody can come and say whatever they want. If we look at the 2023 State Department Human Rights Report, so that exposes all the atrocities committed under this regime in great details. It highlights acts of torture, abductions, and right now we have few surveys which were conducted among the diaspora in North America, which indicates that more than 80% of overseas Pakistanis, they hold military regime and the General Asim Munir directly responsible for all the destruction and destabilization of the country. We are heartened by the unanimous support from American congressional leaders for House Resolution 901 and then the recent Kassar Lee and McGovern letter, which directly calls out General Asim Munir by name, advocating for visa bans and travel restrictions. This marks the beginning of the diaspora's commitment to ensuring the illegitimate regime faces consequences for its crimes against humanity. The international community must hold this regime accountable for the unprecedented human right abuse and the atrocities they have inflicted on the people of Pakistan. So, having said these things, we just want to make sure we are not here to tell that some institutions they are not loyal or they are going above the law. With this institution, the Pakistani military, we all grow up, from last 70 years with the unconditional romance and love for that institution. We have given all the sacrifices. The poor people of Pakistan, with their blood and sweat, they have raised this strong institution. So again, the people still love their shaheeds. They still love their jawans who are on the borders. We just are asking that since we had that love relationship, that for God's sake, do your course correction. For God's sake, do a kind of a course correction so we can establish democracy and we can establish rule of law in Pakistan. So we just have few charter of demands. We want to make sure there should be a restoration of civilian supremacy. We want to make sure there is independent judiciary and free media. We just want to make sure there is no military interference in politics. The cornerstone of any democracy is free and fair elections. So we just want to make sure we have fair and free elections in Pakistan so mandate of the people would be respected. We want accountability and implementation of Article 6 on the people who have violated the constitution and the uh, uh, all other rule of law in Pakistan. We want the release of the political prisoners. We want protection of civil liberties and end of abductions. And we want resignation of unconstitutional power holders. And with all this, we want to go to the next step, which is the Q&A session. So if you guys have any questions, we have our panel here. They can answer your questions. So just raise your hands and yes, sure. Nazir. Maybe Dr. Moeed, if he can come and conduct the Q&A session and have some comments as well, that would be really great.
Dr. Usman, I think first of all, the first question was from Anwar Iqbal Sahab, the correspondent of Dawn newspaper here in Washington. Ji Anwar Sahab, thanks
Thank
for
you.
your patience.
Two things. First, of course, I need a little more details about this move in. I don't know if it is in the House or the Senate. And you said you have 42 signatures. Is it a bipartisan move supported by both Republicans and senators? What are your future plans? Will it just be a letter, or you want to move a resolution as well? So we need that kind of detail and some prominent names if you have. This is the first part of the question. The second part is you have done, so Barki Saab, you have done this before. You passed a resolution with a huge majority, and you have held several protests and rallies. I have attended most of those and everything, but nothing is working. I mean, Americans actually cannot go there physically and remove the army chief. So what will be the next stage? What else can you do to achieve your demands? Thank you.
Was introduced a couple of weeks ago, and it has about 42 signatures and counting. It's mostly in the House. This is not so much a bipartisan letter so far. We're still trying to get Republicans on the letter, but at this point, it's primarily a predominantly Democratic letter. It wasn't meant to be that way, but I mean, so far the signatures that we do have are of leading Democrats and progressives. We have people from the Appropriations Committee who have signed on to that letter. Again, as I mentioned before, that is the committee that determines whether Congress should authorize funding to militaries and foreign governments that are violating international human rights standards. We also just got somebody from the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and we're really at that point where we're thinking that it might snowball into a much bigger sort of set of signatures that we might get on that. At this point, we're also working on the Senate side. We have no, that is just something, a work in progress at this point. We're trying to get the second letter that was introduced by Congresswoman Wild and Congressman James is currently also, we're trying to get signatures for that as well. But that came a little bit later. And so I think the primary focus at this point is the first letter that came out, co-led by Jim McGovern. And you also asked whether this is just it's a letter to President Blinken and President Biden, and also addressing Blinken to sort of ensure that what we're asking for in terms of visa bans and asset freezing and all of those things come to pass. So it's a very strongly worded letter, and again, the first letter that actually mentions General Asim Munir by name. And inshallah, like we mentioned earlier, this is really and inshallah, we're hoping that this will lead to actually, bills and laws that are binding. Resolutions aren't binding as such. So that is going to be the next step as long as we have the entire community involved. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to.
Well, thank you. I think Melka already probably answered most of your questions anyway. But I kind of a little bit of disagreement with you, on whether our previous activities have had an effect or not, or whether anything worked. I happen to think that yes, it is working. I happen to think that it is putting plenty of pressure on the military regime in Pakistan, and gradually we are increasing our demands over here. And I think that's what bothers them most. Until a few months ago, we never placed any demands of resignations or restrictions or visa restrictions or asset freezing over here. Now we do. And in the meantime, as you all understand, this exercise with the legislature is not something that happens overnight. It takes time. And we've gone through a learning process. We have made some friends now. We are gaining some access to Congress and to the power corridors. And we think that in the long run, this will be very helpful for Pakistan. So I think it's a fruitful exercise.
Yeah, there's a question there, sir.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Dr. Jalal. I first of all want to congratulate First Pakistan Global for putting this together and bringing such an amazing panel. What I was pleasantly out loud, who the actual culprit behind all of this, what the mess is that's happening in Pakistan, which is General Asim Munir. With somewhat a slight disagreement, I know that PTI has put in a lot of effort in the last 2 years. Unfortunately, we really haven't seen as well as the situation. So a lot of us who have family in the military and understand the mindset, sometimes, in Urdu, it says that, wo sharafat ki zaban, like the more you show patience and tolerance. So I guess my question is, moving forward, now that we've overcome this big hurdle of actually mentioning General Asim Munir, what should be some of the steps that we take as Pakistani Americans, and then sort of like lead the effort in Pakistan? I understand the limitations they have because of the fear of their livelihood and lives. What guidance would you say moving forward for the Pakistani community? And I would love to hear Dr. Osman's thoughts on this as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I think the Pakistani American community, they have evolved in the last 2 years. If you make a comparison before 2 years, we were just like a crowd. But in these 2 years, with all these 2 years of fascism and, when the democracy was backsliding, to improve the economy of Pakistan, and we can develop more trade relation based on our the recent penetration with the lawmakers and with the Congress. As far as the other question concerned, that what's going on in Pakistan with the political prisoners and what else we can do, I think being a community, um, as with morality and ethics, what the Pakistanis can do, they can do a social boycott of all the people who are involved in the regime, all the politicians who are doing those atrocities, all the military people who are involved in those abductions and kidnappings and killings, and at the student level, you can kind of boycott their families who are part of this. So they should feel that heat, that the community is boycotting all their activities. And secondly, we can see we have investments in Pakistan. We want to double our investment in Pakistan, but with this law and order situation, with this democratic crisis, people are pulling out their investments from there as well. And then the third thing, if the military is not going to stop their involvement in politics, then the people can boycott their products, the garrison products. They have so many products which are in the market. They own so many businesses, so at least community can do those activities. I know they cannot raise voice, they are being treated like slaves, but they can do these things. They can boycott tourism to Pakistan until the condition improves. We want Pakistan to flourish, but not under this fascism. Thank you.
No. So, no. I in fact want to ask a question to Parkisa, but you go ahead, please.
Basically, can you hear me? Yeah. So basically, all the speakers basically said that, like Malaika Samdani and Barki Saab especially said that all these things are happening in Pakistan. You explained all the events, and obviously I agree with and I share thoughts, whatever you said. Anwar Bhai also asked a question, but I think that is not answered yet. As a journalist, I have in my mind that you repeatedly said that you will not accept now. So what will you do? I know what is happening on the level you are trying to convince the legislators here and things like that. But what do you mean by saying this, that you will not accept now? I have another question, but
Yeah,
please.
this is a question to Parkisa, right? I assume. Yeah, difficult question.
Well, yeah, I know it's very difficult. I wish I had a great answer to this. Only thing we can do, see, we have to, the way I see it, I can only do what an overseas Pakistani can do. I am not on the ground in Pakistan. I am not somebody that can go march in the streets over there. I'm not somebody who can, go and shout slogans over there in D Chalk. I do my share from here. And how do I do that? I show the people in Pakistan that we stand with you. It is just an increased strength for the crowds over there. What I also try and do myself personally at my level is engage the youth of Pakistan. And I'm very happy to see that we've seen that in the last few weeks. Maybe it was because of a certain incident also, but the youth of Pakistan is finally beginning to come out. And I don't think anything will change in Pakistan until the youth of Pakistan come out. They are the only ones who can bring change. People like me, we already have, we'll do our share, but we have our limitations. It's the youth of Pakistan, inshallah, that will come out and bring change, and we'll support them. That's all we can do, sitting abroad and try and force some kind of legislation here in this country, if we can. We're trying.
So, please go ahead.
Like as a journalist, we have to support anything democratic, like the PTI since long protesting against the unconstitutional moves. PTI is in Pakistan, is demonstrating and protesting against the efforts to make a unconstitutional constitutional amendment. So this is their right. But one of the speakers here, Tazeen Sahiba, mentioned a rape incident in Lahore, which I understand is really controversial thing, and there are no solid evidences. But because she has said this by using a platform of an organization, if she knows about the name of the victim or any specific details, because I think that a political movement which is based on facts and which is demanding its rights and is protesting against something undemocratic, if it will base its slogan on an incident which is not proved, it will ultimately hurt that movement. So, may I ask what is the name of the victim of the rape incident there?
I would like to answer that question, Moeed bhai.
Yep. Yeah. Please
I
go
would like-
ahead.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure what the good name of this journalist is who asked this question.
Ahmed Qureshi sir. Sorry, Nurani sir.
Yeah, Nurani sir. This is Dr. Munir from Tampa, Florida. I would like to answer the question which was raised earlier also about what we will do next as overseas Pakistani Americans. The group that you are seeing here, it's part of a much bigger group, and we collaborate regularly. We brainstorm, we discuss ideas how we are going to proceed. We have a very, very clear path about what we are going to do next. Right now, step one is engagement with Congress, impressing upon them the need to uphold the Constitution of the United States, which includes the Bill of Rights. Right now, we are at stage one, and we are finding the like-minded congressmen, and everybody else around them also is gradually rallying around us. HR 901 was a great success for the community. We are only going to build upon it. Initially, we are very, very careful about not naming any individuals in Pakistan for, the obvious reasons. But unfortunately, despite our patience and hoping that there will be some course correction, and some people will take a step back and think that maybe their actions are harming the federation, and they will start taking the right decision. They did not. So now we are escalating. We are naming the person we believe is directly responsible. This is only going to escalate. We are not only here in Washington or across America, we are across the entire globe. We are collaborating with our friends in Canada. There is a petition in Canadian Parliament already asking for visa bans and other sanctions against the army generals. We are working on Parliament in Australia and in United Kingdom also. These efforts are eventually all going to join together and it'll be a much bigger movement. So this is step one only. It is only going to escalate. Our plans are very simple. Next, we are going for collaborating with certain institutions, including international organizations, and we will most likely be filing lawsuits against the individuals who has committed these crimes. And then we are also going to start holding seminars with these organizations, including different organizations which are focused on democracy and human rights. And we will make sure that the mainstream media also start talking about it. Then we are going to build upon that even further. Those plans for now are kind of secret, so I'm not going to elaborate upon them. But the bottom line is, rest assured that for many of you guys sitting in that hall, or some people in Pakistan who might watch it later, you believe that this is a very benign thing and you are getting assurances from your friends in different quarters that none of this will come out of it. I can assure you a lot will come out of this. But our intentions are not that. Like I said in the beginning, we are not here because we hate anyone. We are here because we love Pakistan. And we will go to any extent to prove our loyalty to the country and help with course correction. And the other question now, the person who asked about, fact-based movements for democracy, and well, fact number one, election was stolen. How many of your newspaper, including Dawn newspaper, have the courage to speak the truth about it? That Pakistan has the worst election in the history of democratic world, not just in Pakistan, but in the history of entire democracy. Have you ever seen the kind of rigging that took place in Pakistan? Have you ever seen that family members of the candidates are held in prison, illegal incarceration? They are actually tortured. Have you ever seen a judge whose family members has their private parts electrocuted? so that they can give decisions in favor of the military junta which is ruling the country right now? Have you heard of daughters, 19-year-old daughter in Lahore being stripped naked in front of her father just so that you can torture the supporters of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf? What other proof are you looking for, sir? I'm here to answer your question.
This
Please
is
tell
Ahmed
me
Nurani
if-
wants. Yeah.
Yes, is there any
This
other?
is this is
Yes, yes, sir.
Anwar Iqbal Sahab from Dawn.
Dr. Saab, let's not start a discussion about what happened before and what's happening now. A lot of things have happened before.
No, sir. No,
Probably
sir.
you,
No, 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 no.
probably
are
you
wrong
were
there,
not,
sir.
you
I'm
were
sorry.
not
I have to
involved. Sir,
interject. I have to
listen to, sir,
interject
listen,
here.
let me finish it.
No,
and
no,
then
no,
you
no.
can-
I don't know. You are absolutely wrong, sir.
Let me finish it,
You are
sir. Then you can
completely wrong.
answer.
No, no, no. I'm not going to
Mia,
listen to you.
Mia
You're wrong.
Tufel,
Doctor, just give him
Please,
just
please,
give
before
him a
you say
moment.
anything,
give me a
before you
minute,
say
sir.
anything, sir,
Give me a
I'll
minute.
ask you one
Let me
question
finish
and then
it.
you can say whatever you want.
Let
I'll
me
keep
finish
just
it.
one question before I
Acha,
say
unko ek
anything.
minute complete
No,
karo.
listen to me, please.
Please,
One
sir, complete your thought and then let Anwar Iqbal Sahab come in.
Can you, I have a question for you, sir.
Mhm.
Can you build a just society on the basis of intellectual dishonesty? It's a
I'm
question
not saying that you
directly
can.
addressed to you, to the media that you
I-
represent, sir.
I'm
Can you
not
build a just
saying you
society on the
can.
basis of intellectual
I'm
dishonesty?
not building any society. I'm not even building
Okay.
the societies that are built in Pakistan for making money. I'm not into construction. What I was just responding to what you said, that it hasn't happened before. Yes, it has. There was
No,
a
sir, it
person
has
called.
not. Again, intellectual
Let
dishonesty.
me finish it,
This
sir.
is what that's why I
let me
mentioned
finish.
intellectual dishonesty.
Sir, let me finish it.
So let me, sir, मुझे थोड़ा सा बताने दें. Actually, वो ये कहना चाह रहे हैं. What he's actually trying to say that the level and intensity and the
Sir,
frequency
वही मैं
which is
उसका
right now
एक मिसाल
has
देना
not
चाह
been
रहा
seen before.
I was just giving one example.
Complete your thought.
Mia Tufail Muhammad. He was the Amir of Jamaat Islami and he was above 65. He was raped in the prison by a sweeper. This was arranged by the government and Barki Saab said yes, it did. So many things have happened.
Yeah.
Hassan Nasir was killed in Lahore Fort. So
incidences have happened. What he's
people
probably
have
saying
happened.
is that the level
During
of intensity.
MRD, what happened? Yeah, this did not happen in Punjab before. What happened in Sindh during MRD, we can't even think about it. But let's not start discussions on these things. That is, and you said fact-based. Nurani says fact-based. What he means is he did a story on General Bajpa's property, okay, and he attached each and every document that could prove his claims. He did this to General Asim Bajwa and to the army chief as well. So when he says fact-based, that's what he means. That if when he wanted, it was very simple. But does anybody know for sure that whether this woman was raped or not?
Just respond to that.
Yeah.
Again,
Okay.
we don't know what happened. I haven't been following it very
On
closely.
regarding the rape thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I
So-
also have to add
I
something to
just have
that.
to say one thing, and again, we don't really know. I mean, we're sitting here again. We don't know, what all of the details are, what exactly happened. But what we have been seeing, which has been documented and live streamed, is the police brutality against students. And that is something that is absolutely established, that is absolutely documented. Chahe wo hua hai ki nahi hua, right? We don't know. And what we are seeing, and there is no doubt about that, is the police brutality that we have seen against young students who are protesting. तो हमारा काम ये है कि हम उसके खिलाफ आवाज उठाएं. And yes, absolutely get to the bottom of कि असल में क्या हुआ. जैसे अब आपको याद होगा कि जब यही जो पुलिस चीफ जो के खातून है, उनका क्या नाम है? शहरबानो.
She's not a police chief. She's a
Not a
ASP
police
or
chief. Yeah,
SP.
she's an ASP, sorry. तो जब वो इचरा वाला इंसिडेंट हुआ था जिसमें वो जाके उनको दिखाया गया था कि she was a big heroine, she goes and she, rescues the people who were being targeted because of that a particular woman was wearing and everything. And then we see Shahrbano go in and pull them out and rescue. I was the first one to laud that effort. I thought this was incredible. This is an amazing woman and she's doing that. Then there were lots of doubts that were cast about whether that incident was planted or not, right? अब वही बात है कि पाकिस्तान में there's so many murky details and we just literally don't know कि who's acting in good faith, bad faith, whatever.
So, Noorani Sahab, I want to add something to the rape. The internationally accepted standard on the rape reporting is, if you look at United Kingdom and North America, that you do not identify the name of the rape victim. Also, when there are small minors who are less than 14 years of age in this country, I have seen certain police instances where the minors are neither identified by the name nor by the picture in the police records, right? So precautions are taken. In this particular case, the education minister of the Punjab government went over there, and you must have seen the videos in which he said that he believes the incident has taken place. He also believes that the CCTV footage, he understands that the CCTV footage has been deleted by the principal of the Punjab College. And then students have actually been naming a particular, girl, who didn't come back to the college for 10-15 days. Now you look at this, that the parents of the same student are being paraded by the Punjab police, and the parent or the father is being compelled. Imagine yourself in being that situation in Pakistan, in an ultra conservative society, being the father of a girl. The whole city is discussing the rape of that girl, and the father is now compelled to basically say nothing like that happened. My daughter fell down somewhere, she got injured, that's why she has not been back into the college for the 10 days. So do you want them to come, and can you imagine the kind of pressure the Punjab police can exert on them? Also look at this, when Zille Shah's body was recovered, you have seen that footage when Zille Shah was taken away by the police. He disappeared. Then his dead body was discovered in Lahore, and the first postmortem report, which happened incidentally, which was when the body was received in the casualty, identified 27 or 37, strikes on different body parts. And then subsequently a second postmortem was done, which basically said, are there any physicians in this room? Are there any doctors? I mean, imagine I'm a physician who has been part of the forensic medicine. Your first medical postmortem report says 37 strikes on different body parts, and then you come up with the second postmortem report that basically said it was a traffic accident. A traffic accident and, strikes on the body, pointed strikes are very different. If such is the nature of the tyranny of the Punjab police, how can we talk about the facts? And General Bajwa's story is basically a taxation and financial thing in which you can collect the evidences from Federal Board of Revenue. How can you collect evidences here in this kind of thing?
Can I add a couple of things here? So in terms of rape happened or not happened, Dr. Moeed already mentioned that the actual minister of the current government said, yes, it happened, right? So, and then they were trying to say, he shouldn't have done this, blah, 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 blah. So cover up there. Who are we kidding here? Why did this happen or not happen? Come on, guys. Have some moral courage to say this is unacceptable. It did happen. Look at the circumstantial evidence. This is how you prove a case. Who is benefiting right now? Who is the owner of that college? Who is the son of that owner of the college, and who does he is relative of? He is the Maad of Maryam Nawaz. Is anybody in this room willing to say that they are going to say and do the right thing? I am not, and I will say it out loud. The second thing is, when the press conference was happening and they called a girl who said, previously had released a video that I was the witness and here is the evidence, was brought in with a mask, sitting next to a woman that's my mother and I am the daughter, and I am saying, no, I was not the witness, but this other girl was, and Maryam Nawaz reaches out, turns her mic off and says, no, there was nothing happened. What does that tell you? Same thing, Shahbaz Sharif had done that exact same thing in the past, right? So these kind of things in Pakistan, coming from the areas that we belong to, yes, now the awareness is much more than it was before. 10% of the rapes are reported, maybe even less. Only 1% are convicted of all of these, and only from families who don't have any backing, right? Anybody who has any kind of knowledge, they try to hide those kind of things. And this is what we need to speak up about.
But this would actually be taking us very far away from the actual, subject. I think we would like to conclude. Any more comments from here and any more questions? Yes,
I think just a very short comment. If I'm not wrong, I think the question that Noorani Saab had posed was that are we building a movement on the basis of this incident? That's, I think, what he was. No, sir, we're not. We're not. And no, we're not even trying. This is a movement that started on its own without any participation of the party or the political leadership. So it is a movement by the students who feel like they need to come out and show their solidarity with the victim. So no, we're not basing any of our movement on that.
Okay, okay, I'll reach the school. Bye-bye.
Dr. Sir, this is Zahir Java. As Executive Director, Friends Club, Washington, D.C., I want to register some sentiments. What's going on in Pakistan against political activists, people who they were jailed. And secondly, I have a question. Since the creation of Pakistan, everybody, mostly people, they were aware, especially I would point out Mr. Imran Khan, he was aware of the situation and wrongdoings, and with criminal intention, the generals has done since the creation. So having all those information, how come Imran Khan has given first hand to General Musharraf, and then secondly Bajwa, and then gave him an extension. Then after that, now being in power, what he has done to stop this. Rather, when he was ousted from the Prime Minister office, he has taken very seriously all those wrongdoings. Thirdly, I would ask Ms. Hamdani, who you expect more from Democrats or Republican for the resolution you are going to file? So just for, I'm curious.
Moeed bhai, the first part of the question I would like to answer, then Mehlika can
Yes.
answer the second part.
Yes, Dr. Munir.
Yes, we are not spokesperson for Prime Minister Imran Khan, so we cannot speak on his behalf as to what he was thinking. We are here about what happened in Pakistan against democracy and human rights in the last 2 years, and we'll be very happy to answer any question regarding that. Thank you, Mehlika. Go ahead.
This question was
To Sajjad Barki, you mean like, he's asking is to the PTI. Yes, go ahead. But well said. Thanks.
Yeah, I think this is probably not the platform to be discussing this, because this is not I am here, as a overseas Pakistani myself. This is not a platform of PTI. But generally, just to make a comment on what you said, please remember that when Imran Khan, you mentioned he supported Musharraf. But then again, at that time, let's not forget, he changed his mind and retracted from that very quickly. And he initially supported him because General Musharraf said he will bring accountability. The big slogan was accountability, which did not happen. Secondly, you said Imran Khan worked with General Bajwa. Of course he did. He was the chief of staff. He was, somebody who was very important in that country. And I would love to see we develop a tradition where the prime minister of the country and the chief of staff of that country can work hand in hand. And I think this is exactly what Imran was trying to do at that time. Unfortunately, he didn't know that, or didn't realize that he was being deceived, that there was a conspiracy going on against him. So, to blame him for supporting the generals, I think we all have a responsibility to support our army. They are an institution that is important for the country, and we all need to support it.
But not their interference in politics.
Yeah, obviously, I'm as an institution, yes.
Okay. Anybody has any question? Nazish, can you please give me? Ji, Barrister Ihtisham.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Barrister Ihtisham Amiruddin. I've been a lawyer in Pakistan, also an anchor person. My question is to Sajjad Barki Saab, and maybe Dr. Moeed can also answer that as a journalist. We've been looking at the political strategy of PTI for the release of Imran Khan. I was talking to somebody today in Pakistan, and the gentleman is a supporter of Imran Khan, and he was so frustrated that he said that I think that now Imran Khan should crack a deal, because if the people are not coming out on the streets for his release, then why should he only sacrifice behind the bars? So that is the sentiment of the supporter of Imran Khan in Pakistan, whose confidence in the PTI leadership in Pakistan is kind of shaken, number one. Number two, whatever strategy PTI has devised in Pakistan, we've seen that after the protests that took place on the 4th and 5th of October, things have changed for the worse for Imran Khan, and particularly for his family as well. His sisters are in jail right now also. So my question is that today it is in the news that Maulana Fazlur Rahman has also agreed upon with the government upon the constitutional amendments. And with those amendments, the government is trying to take away the power of suo motu jurisdiction of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Pakistan, number one, and they're trying to get the authority to appoint the next Chief Justice, because up till now, Al Jihad Trust case was being followed, which says that the most senior judge in the Supreme Court is going to be the Chief Justice of Pakistan. But now they're trying to give this authority to the parliamentary committee, that out of the three most senior judges.
They're actually bringing it 5.
Okay.
So because they want to bring Yahya Afridi, so they want to expand the list to 5.
All right. But the news that I've read, it talked about 3. So,
Maybe they've narrowed
so even if it's 3, it gives the discretion to the parliamentary committee to select somebody as the Chief Justice. For example, if they're not happy with Mansoor Ali Shah's interpretation of the law, they might pick the one on the 2nd or the 3rd. So my question is that whatever strategy has been devised by PTI in Pakistan is not, I understand that it's a struggle and it will take time and it needs tenacity and stamina, but things must be seen to be going in the right direction, right? So that is my first question. So PTI USA agrees with the strategy of PTI Pakistan or not? Number one. Number two, my question is that we've seen so many PTI supporters in USA talking about the fact that if Trump takes over as the president again, that is going to be very helpful for PTI to raise to bring Imran Khan out of the bars. So is PTI USA working on those lines? Is there any dialogue or any kind of an effort being put in with the Republican Party? Are we going to, if, for example, Trump comes into power, are we going to see any change the way American administration is treating PTI or Imran Khan right now in Pakistan, and the way they're going to treat it after the elections, if there's a possible political change, if that change happens?
Okay, Barrister Tisham, I have to pick my daughter from the school, so I want to add something over here, which will help you. And that's a very difficult question because most of the people have not really grappled with that question so far. But I would like all of you to think on that question. In the last 24 hours, Pakistan and India have developed very good optics at the SCO, where the Indian foreign minister that came to Pakistan after almost 9-10 years, they have engaged in a very warm optics. So the Sharif Zardari Asim regime have delivered to Washington, London, and Brussels what they actually wanted for all that time period, and which, as per my analysis of international relationship, was actually the principal factor and motivation behind the regime change operation in Pakistan, because Imran Khan's government was caught in a very difficult situation with India after the 5th August 2019, and it was not politically possible for them to make any move, as they were being asked to embrace India, engage them for trade, connectivity, and all that. In the last 24 hours, things are now moving in that direction. So while this panel and many of the Pakistani Americans, I do not know if Dr. Moeed is still there, are thinking of raising the issues with the Congress, and the United States Congress has actually resonated and responded when you raise the issues of the human right, the rule of law, the fairness in the election, because these are the fundamental cardinal principles to the American way of life and constitution. But the American executive is looking at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is containment of China. And the containment of China is possible by giving an expanded role to India and South Asia. This is a very deep-seated paradigm in American thinking because of the Monroe Doctrine. They believe that, any power can only become a great power when it has unfettered access to two oceans. So United States had access to Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. China has access to the Pacific Ocean. They wanted to have access to the Indian Ocean. So Pakistan was the only country that was providing them the strategic space. So by taking over Pakistan, by bringing in India into Pakistan, you block the China's rise to the global power aspiration. So now, since the regime in Pakistan, so all the human right violation, the constitution destruction, the lack of parliament and anything will be ignored by Washington, London and Brussels, which is actually being ignored. So I think this is something which you have to seriously think and reflect, that what would be the largest political party in Pakistan thinking in terms of India, and how will it take its position in Washington and within Pakistan? Because I do not think you can resist it anymore. You cannot take a position against India-Pakistan relationship. The moment has been lost. But the people of Pakistan have not really grasped. They have been thinking upon Israel and Middle East and other kind of nonsensical issues which had nothing to do with the regime change. It was not related to Russia. It had nothing to do with the Russia trip. Donald Lu merely knew that thing is happening. He blurted it out. He was not nearly the main, but PTI had been spending lots of money in focusing on Donald Lu and things like this. So I think that I just added my question to your question. So thank you.
All those questions. I mean, there's a lot of questions. Of course, Dr. Moeed, I agree with a lot of what you've said. I think these are things that we will have to be looking at in the future. As we all understand, the main issue between Pakistan and India has always been Kashmir, and that is one issue that Imran Khan stood firm on. I wonder if this current government that is sitting there and the army establishment will give up on the issue of Kashmir, or will they make a settlement on it somehow with India? And unless they do that, it'll be very difficult to convince the people of Pakistan that everything is fine between Pakistan and India, and let's make friends and move on. So the struggle will continue. I agree with you that yes, the Americans are, this is their deep desire to make India the controlling factor in that region. And that's why most of the things that have happened in the last few years, we've seen that. But I think this is something to be looking at in the future and studying. And I think PTI will also be very seriously looking at this. I personally, again, this is not a PTI thing. I personally feel like there's no reason why neighbors should not have friendly relations. And unfortunately, somehow for Pakistan, we've never been able to do that. I mean, at one time we used to have friendly relations with Iran. We lost that. We didn't have friendly relations with Afghanistan. India, we have to learn to find compromises, and hopefully, things will turn for the better. Coming back to some of the questions that Mr. Sham had brought up, of course, yes, I know there's a lot of criticism right now at us, at the party leadership, and of course, some of it is genuine. I understand it. People's feelings are hurt. It looks like the party is not doing enough to bring their leader out. But I promise you, the party is doing all they can. They're living in an environment where they're struggling to even survive on a daily basis. Our leadership has to run from house to house. Yesterday, one of our MNAs was arrested because he was hiding in one place and he left that area to go to another hiding place, and in the middle of the journey, he was arrested. So things are tough it's not for lack of trying. And as we all know that, all communication was cut off from our leader. That has been a huge setback for us because the party has always depended on his advice, his instructions to move on. And we've not had that in the last couple of weeks. And we've struggled, to be honest. The leadership has struggled because of that. But I cannot sit here and criticize my leadership for not doing anything because I know that they're trying their best. The circumstances are not very conducive to start to achieve things very rapidly in that country. Hopefully, there was some other thing that you had also brought up. Oh, the Trump factor. Yeah, well, let me put it this way. No, we are not. We're not counting on anybody. I hope Anwar Bhai doesn't report me tomorrow as saying that if Trump comes, Imran will be freed. No, we're not looking for that. Neither have we ever gone to any of these administrations looking for help for just Imran Khan. We are in touch with both parties that are running with the Kamala Harris and with the President Trump's camp. We do feel that we may have a better chance with President Trump becoming coming into office only because we know the history of the other camp. We know their policies. We know what they're going to do, and it's not been very conducive to what we want in Pakistan. So we are hoping that if President Trump does get elected, he will have a different policy. And because of his previous relationships with Imran Khan, maybe he'll help out Imran and the party to at least bring in a democratic way of life in Pakistan. So, but we're not counting on any one party as such.
Thank you so much. With this one, we just want to give the concluding remarks. First of all, I would like to say special thanks to all the volunteers from First Pakistan Global and the Community Alliance for Peace and Justice. Malaka, she flew, and Barkisab, he flew from Texas as well. So thank you so much. And just last couple of things that what we are doing right now is for the love of our motherland. We are doing all this to stand with truth and justice. And this is not a responsibility given to us by any political personality or a political party. This is for all of us, is a divine responsibility. So this is a responsibility which is given to all of us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that when there is injustice in the society, when there is oppression, we have to stand up for that, whatever resources you have. Before that, in the past, the prophets, they used to come and establish justice in the society. So now, after our last prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we are not gonna get any more prophets. So this is mutual responsibility for all of us to stand up against this oppression, stand up against these atrocities, and help your brothers and sisters in Pakistan to regain their democracy, rule of law, justice, and peace. And with all that, we hope that they will adopt the thing of truth and reconciliation, and then we can move forward with the democratic and progressive Pakistan. Long live Pakistan. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.